Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy July 4th. And well, it's a little bit after July 4th. It's maybe a few days after July 4th. But July 4th was that day where some people celebrated freedom, independence, or what have you. Some people just celebrated as a day off work. And whatever the case may be, I just want you to know, let it go. To me, it's all about living a stress free life. And so that's what I'm going to just talk to you for a few minutes about today is how to live a stress free life. One of the best prayers I ever heard, and for those that know me, know that I am a woman of prayer and I love to pray because I just believe that prayer gets things done. And so one of the things that one of the best prayers I've ever heard in life is the prayer that they say at AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's called the Serenity Prayer. It says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. When I tell you that the very first time I heard that, I was just like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. But at a time when I really needed it because my stress level was a little bit higher than normal, I said, let me dig into that a little bit deeper. Serenity means peace. It means to have peace, to obtain peace, to walk in peace, to live in peace. In other words, AKA to be stress free. And so this prayer is asking, give me the peace to accept those things that I can't change. Because, of course, you know that there are some things that you can't change. At this point, you can't change the world crisis. At this point, you can't change the cost of groceries in the grocery store or the price of gas, which is astronomical. Some things you just can't change. One of the other things that we can't change is that we can't change people dying. I've had some very close deaths in my family recently and among family and friends. And as much as I prayed and as much as I said, don't let them go just yet, I realized that I was being selfish in not wanting them to go and be at peace. But what I also said is, I don't want them to suffer. And so, even though that was something that I couldn't change, I had to accept the fact that I could be at peace even though I couldn't change those situations. So I said, God, give me the peace to accept the things that I can't change. We're talking about letting it go. We're talking about living a stress free life. Then it goes on to say, the courage to change the things that I can. When I started my businesses, both of them, one of them I've been operating for about 12 years, almost 13 years, and one for just over a year. I had no clue as to what I was doing. Can I be transparent with you? I just knew what I wanted to do, and I knew who I wanted to help because everything I do, I always want to help somebody. And so as I began to start those businesses and pray about what do I do next? What do I do next? Some things I had to have the courage to jump out there and do them. It's not like necessarily jumping in the middle of the ocean knowing you can't swim, but it's the courage to put on a life vest and stick your feet in just in case the current comes and sweeps you away. You know that you'll still be floating. And so, in so many things in my life, when I went back to school to get my doctorate degree, when I just so many things I can name, when I left my full time secure job, I had to have the courage to make that change in my life and recognize and know that it's something that I could stay afloat if I took courage and followed the instruction. This last piece, of this puzzle is what ignites me so. It's the wisdom to know the difference. I'm telling you, wisdom, the Bible tells you that wisdom is the principal thing. And it does go on to say that in all you're getting, you can get money, you can get fame, you can get new jobs, you can get new houses, you can get all of those material things. But if you don't have wisdom and you don't have understanding, you've pretty much lost the cause. What does that have to do with letting it go? Taking peace in changing those things that you can change. Having courage to do the things, or no, let me go back. Having peace in knowing that some things you can't change. Having courage to dig right in, to jump in the water and change the things that you can. Now, I'm not going to tell you all the strategies on how to change them, because guess what? That could be different for so many people. But then the wisdom to know the difference. Let me tell you all a funny story. We are talking about letting it go, and we're talking about how to declutter your life and your mind. I am that person that saves boxes. Yes, I am. I used to be. I'm kind of recovering from it, thanks to my wonderful husband, Tony. But I used to save the boxes to everything. Everything I bought, I saved the boxes for them, because I always thought, well, what if I have to take it back? Or what if we move? Or what if, what if, what if? So I was always saving these boxes. And so when we got married, my husband, he was just like, he looked in the storage area, in the storage area in the house that I was living in at that time. And he said, what is all these boxes? I said, they're boxes to things that I bought. And, I was just so proud of myself because they were all nice and they were neat and they were organized. Guess what? The ridiculous thing was that I didn't recognize that I could get more storage boxes, so I had created all of this. It wasn't clutter in my mind because it was organized, but it was clutter because it was unnecessary. So how do we declutter our life and declutter our mind? Now, when I'm really, really busy and I got several projects going on at the same time, and I often do because I run two businesses, my workspace can get a little bit challenged. I'll have stacks of papers here and all of this. I'm not one of those people that have fully acquiesced to doing everything virtual or digital. So I still write notes. I like writing notes. I love pens and all of that. But one thing I recognize is that when my workspace is cluttered, then my mind is cluttered. So a practice that I have is that at the end of my day, I always make sure that I declutter my workspace, because when I walk into my office the next morning, I don't want to have to deal with trying to figure out where's this and where's that. I declutter that workspace so I can walk in with a clear mind. And in decluttering the day before, it also organizes my workspace so that my mind can be organized, so that I will know what I'm walking in to work on the next morning. So a good friend of mine, Khalid, one of my brothers, he posted something this morning about setting boundaries. He talked about self-care. Now, you guys know that since February, I have been, or actually all year, but all of my newsletters and lives have been about self-care. Letting it go and decluttering your life and mind is also about self-care. It's about letting go of those things that are no longer necessary, like those boxes I was saving. So let me give you a few tips before I go on how to declutter your mind and life. When it comes to making decisions, don't linger on those decisions for more than a day. If it's not something you can change or decide on, park it until you need to make that decision. Make a weekly assessment of clutter reduction. Go through your workspace, go through your house, figure out those that are unnecessary and replace it. Years ago, now my dad is 86 years old, 86 years young, and still kicking it like you wouldn't believe, right? But some years ago, he saw that I had been saving canceled checks again, one of those other security features that I had, right? And he said, "Why are you saving all of this?" I said, "Oh, these are canceled checks and you're supposed to save them for 7 years." Now, at the time, he was probably in his 70s. He said, "You don't have to save those, honey. All you got to do is go online and get them from the bank." Now, I'm supposed to be the one teaching him about technology, right? Mm-mm. Clutter, let it go, shred them, get rid of them. Because this is what he said to me that revolutionized my clutter free life. He said, anything that you can replace in 7 days or less, you don't need to keep. I always thought that my dad was the smartest person in the world, and that proved it to me. So, make a weekly assessment of clutter reduction. Look around, figure out what you can get rid of. If you can replace it in less than 7 days, get rid of it. Keep your workspace organized. I just talked about that. I talked about how I make it a practice at the end of my day to organize for the next day. Spend time daily doing things that don't require too much thinking. Whew. I know in the middle of our workday, it's easy for us inundated with thoughts, decisions, and things that we have to do. But take some time during the midst of your day to just veg out, just to say, I'm just going to think about how green that tree is out there and figure out, talk about the chlorophyll in the tree, something mindless. Veg out for a few minutes so that your stress level and your cortisol level can decrease. Write out decisions that need to be made and put a deadline on them. As I said earlier, if you can't make that decision that day, park it if it's not an emergency and put a deadline on when you need to make that decision. Have a trusted person that can hold you accountable for making decisions. I have accountability partners in every area of my life. As a matter of fact, I'm meeting with one right after I do this live. We hold each other accountable by saying, hey, did you remember to take care of this? Now, does that make us dependent? Nope, it doesn't. It keeps us accountable. I'm that person that says, if I know I got to report back to somebody, I'm going to make sure I do it. And I'm going to make sure I do it in excellence. So these are just some tips on how to declutter your life and your mind. I promised you I wasn't going to hold you that long today. I appreciate you all. And if you do want to know how to declutter your mind and your life even more, I have a few coaching and counseling slots available and a few consulting slots available. If you want to get a free 30-minute consultation, jump on my website at www.rubyepowell.com. It's going across the bottom of the screen, and just schedule a 30-minute discovery call. It's not a sales call, I promise you. I let you know what I can do to help you, and I guarantee that I can help you. Not arrogant, just confident. But if you need that kind of help, make sure that you schedule that discovery call. And if I can't help you, if I'm not your coach, your counselor, your consultant, I know plenty of other coaches that would be able to provide your need. And I'm more than willing to make a referral to them. Remember, www.rubyepowell.com. It was great talking with you guys today. And let's declutter. We're in the home stretch of this year, 2022. Let's make it count. Let's declutter our life and our mind so that we can go into the next season of our life stress-free. Love and blessings to you, and I'll see you on the other side.